Now we're going to talk about the technology. How does this technology work? What does it do? Things like that. So let's go through it. We got the Bax 3000 by Bioenergetic right here. This is the technology. And I'll talk about kind of why I'm using it and how I got into it in another video about me. But bottom line is we got a computer that has over 250,000 different items in it. And what that computer does is it sends signals from the computer, frequencies, data, whatever you want to call it, to these two boxes, actually, the two boxes. The first box, this one sends out radio waves. It emits radio frequencies. And so what we do, just so you know how that works, and I'll explain it in the treatment part later in the treatment video, but basically when it sends out those radio waves and signals, when you're touching that box, your body, your brain ultimately thinks it's touching those items, those foods, the cats, the pollens, the danders, the dairy, the grains, whatever it is, your body thinks it's touching it. So kind of put it this way. So let's say you're going through the airport and you got a bag of white powder, okay? And it goes through there and they're like, oh no, security, we got some white powder. We don't know what it is. So what they're going to do is they're going to put it in a machine, and I forget what that machine's called, but I know it uses like what's referred to as a tectonic vibrational plate that measures frequencies. So those frequencies resonate in digital form. So Einstein, right? Einstein equals mc squared. Basically what that means is everything is made up of energy. Doesn't matter what the matter or mass is, if it's metal, if it's plastic, if it's pollens, if it's food, everything's got energy to it. Doesn't matter what it is. And that's been found to be true 10 million times over. So when they take that white powder and put it in the machine that measures that energetic frequency, it says, okay, this is just like my son went to the airport not too long ago. This is creatine, okay? Just creatine powder. Or maybe it's cocaine, it'll tell you that. They don't have to, scoop a little bit and put it in their mouth anymore. That's the old days. They can actually just have a machine measure that frequency. Well, that same technology is basically, in essence, what we're using here is that they've measured all the frequencies. Bioenergetic measured all the frequencies, and they put them in the computer. We've got, like I said, 250,000 different ones. And we're going to go through, and I'll show you the protocols and what we're going to do and test for. Actually, maybe I'll show you that in a minute here. But basically, when we want to send out, I'll say, example, dairy, right? When we send out dairy, in fact, here's the picture. Here's the chart. I'm going to show you right now our chart that we're going to test you with. So these are all the categories. Actually, these aren't all. These are only a small fraction of what we test. But these are the main ones that I have to do with most people. I don't have to usually do much more than this. So for example, if we check dairy, we're not just checking dairy. It's number 2 on the list. But what dairy is it's a file, a folder that has 114 subfiles and folders in it. So we're actually going to check milk and yogurt, butter, cottage cheese, sour cream, whole milk, skim milk. Basically we're checking anything and everything related to dairy. So when we test you for dairy, we're actually checking you for all of those, not just one of them. So that's the beauty of this technology. So basically what we're doing is the computer has all those signals. It measured the frequencies. It put it in there. And then the computer sends it to these other boxes. The other boxes transmit it through radio waves on this one box here. And this other box sends it through light waves. And we're going to use a laser for that. And I'll explain that in the treatment video, okay? I'll go over how it works and why it works. But that's the laser part. And it's because it's sending digital data through the laser. So that's kind of how the technology works. In another video, again, I'm going to talk about the treatment and how we're able to capitalize on that technology.